Hi everyone. Today we'll see about the pie chart sample 2. So the question here is given is the pie chart below shows the average household expenditure in Japan and Malaysia in the year 2010. Okay. The picture here it's given pie chart is you can see Japan how they are spending their expenses and Malaysia how they are spending the expenses. So before answering we need to point out for Japan how much they are spending, for which they are giving higher priority, and for Malaysia for which they are giving higher priority for household expenditure. Like that we have to have a map like this. So in Japan they are giving priority for other and good services for about 29%. For Malaysia they are giving for housing expenditure, that is the 34% is the first priority, and after the other and good services in Japan they are giving priority to food, it is 24%, and Malaysia the same, but they are giving higher importance, that is 27% compared to that of Japan. And then thirdly they are giving importance for housing 21%, but here rather than good services it plays a third place. So in their expenditure, that is about 20%. Now we need to frame the answers. First we have to frame the answers, that is first we need to put the introduction and then followed by conclusion, overall statement we need to give, and after that we have to frame the two paragraphs. Okay, this is the pattern. So first we'll start with the introduction part, that is we have to paraphrase the statement, right? So the two pie charts shows the proportion of money spent on various household necessities in Malaysia and Japan in 2010. This is the introduction part. So from the question we are paraphrasing the statement, so we need to paraphrase the statement, and after that the date is calibrated in percentage, so we need to mention that. Now we are starting with conclusion, that is overall statement, we need to find it out. So overall the data indicate that in both cases food and housing and other good services were the main expenses, while both countries spend the least on healthcare. So in this point itself we are noticing other good services, food and housing, so these three things are playing a vital role. These three things are playing a vital role in both the countries, so we need to mention that. And at the same time for the healthcare they are spending very least amount. So in Japan they are spending 6%, for Malaysia they are spending only 3%. So we need to mention in this conclusion part, that is overall statement. So overall the data indicate that in both cases of food, housing and other good services were the main expenses, but while the both countries spend the least on healthcare. And we have to start with the paragraphs. So we are starting the first paragraph with, it can be clearly seen from the chart that in Malaysia is the greatest proportional of expenditures of about how much they are spending, 34% was on housing, while in Japan we need to compare in the first paragraph. So while in Japan how much they are spending for housing, housing accounted, so note this point, note this word accounted for just 21% of the total, followed by, and again we have to note this point, note this word, that is followed by, in Japan the greatest single expenses was other goods and services at 29% compared with 26% in Malaysia. Okay, so these are the first paragraph. So moving to second paragraph, we are starting with moreover. So we need to mark this word moreover. Food came in second place in Japan at 24%, while in Malaysia the actual proportion, this is a key word, so actual proportion was higher, that is 27%. In Japan another major expenses was transport at 20%, but this was much lower in Malaysia, about 10%. Surprisingly, this is a key word, so we are framing. So surprisingly in both the countries the smallest percentage of expenditure was on healthcare, because we are spending only 6% for Japan and 3% about Malaysia. So that's it. So we are starting with the introduction part and paraphrasing the statement, and after that we are giving the conclusion part, overall statement, and then we are starting with two paragraphs. First paragraph we are starting with clearly seen, and second paragraph moreover. So lastly we are completing the paragraph. Surprisingly, in both the countries, smallest percentage of expenditure was on health. This is a simple task, so you can easily frame the answers. So before going to the answer, you need to mind map what and all you are going to mention, what are the words you are going to put to increase your band. That is the main point, because everyone can write the answer, but to increase a band you need to frame the sentence or frame the paragraphs in a higher level. So that will help you to increase your band scores. So total words is 153. So for task 1, we need to write minimum of 150 and maximum of 180. It should not exceed 180 words. After finishing the answer, you need to count the words, and then you have to write total words is how much you are framing the words you need to mention. That's it. Thank you.